we can begin the webinar right away. So a very good evening to all the panelists and attendees. I'm Kyushu University from Kyushu University, and today we are here for the Global Network Project of University of Tokyo India Office. This project aims to attract students primarily from South Asia to encourage them to pursue their further studies in Japan. In today's webinar, we have been joined by several renowned universities in Japan, and each of these universities will give us a 20-minute presentation about their programs offered at undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels, followed by a 5-minute Q&A session. Students are free to ask questions to our panelists in the Q&A box and not the chat box. Sure that you're asking your questions in the Q&A box, and panelists, please make sure to turn off your video and audio when not presenting. Now I'll be sharing the agenda of today's webinar. I hope everyone can see my screen. So now I'll be explaining the flow of today's webinar. We'll begin the webinar with a brief introduction by Ms. Sakshi, the Program Assistant of University of Tokyo India Office, followed by a presentation for overview of study and work life in Japan by Ms. Vaishnavi Thakur from the University of Tokyo. Then we'll have a presentation by Hoka University by Professor Yumiko Watanabe, the coordinator of the FGL program, Professor Dimitro from the School of Engineering, and Mr. Tushit, the student of the FGL graduate program. Followed by a presentation by Kyushu University by Professor Cannon James and Professor Mika Tamura from the Faculty of Engineering. And lastly, we'll have a presentation by Waseda University by Mr. Takashi Hayashi and Ms. Junko Nakamura from the International Admissions Office. Now I'd like to request Ms. Sakshi to commence the webinar with a brief introduction.
Thank you, Ms. Kyushu, for the introduction. Let me share my screen. So welcome back, everyone, to this webinar, Study and Work in Japan, Session 33. My name is Sakshi Roy, and this program is brought to you by Mrq, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology in Japan. So first of all, before giving you a brief introduction about our project, I would like to thank all of you. We are so glad that you have participated in our webinars. Thank you for supporting our online seminars by attending. And to all our panelists, thank you for contributing into this amazing webinar series. So before we start, let me give you a brief introduction about our office. Our office is a part of Study in Japan Global Network Project in Southwest Asia by Mrq, and we provide comprehensive information on Japanese universities. We organize education fairs and seminars throughout India to spread awareness about higher education opportunities in Japan. So today we are conducting session 33 of Study and Work in Japan webinar series. And by means of all these sessions, our mission is to introduce Japanese universities to you and to assist you to study and work in Japan. So there will be 3 different Japanese universities representing in each session: national, public, and private universities. And all the universities are basically focusing to introduce English-based programs that are offered by them. So there has been approximately 700 plus universities as well as specialized vocational institutions in Japan. So you have so many options to choose from world-class universities, whether it is the Hoka University, Kyushu University, Waseda University, Osaka, TIU, and many more universities which we have planned to introduce to you in our webinar series have been ranked among the top universities in the world. So you learn from the very best in the world and work in some of the most modern labs with great facilities. So you can learn Japanese also if you live in Japan. At some of the universities, they have preparatory courses for Japanese language for international students. So it's really a great opportunity for all of you to participate in our webinars. You can also directly ask your queries to representatives of each universities. And lastly, I would like to add an important point here that there are so many of you joining us, and it's been difficult to answer all of your queries during the webinar. So it's better if you can note down the contact addresses of each university. And then if your question hasn't been answered during the session, you can contact them directly later on. Also, right now you can scan this QR code to register for our upcoming webinars. And this is the email address of our office. In case if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We would be very happy to assist you. Thank you very much again for tuning into this webinar, and we request all of you to please stay till the end. We have a lot of useful information to share with you, and we hope you'll enjoy the experience and receive a beneficial information from our webinars. Thank you very much, and please enjoy today's session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sakshi, for the introduction. We will proceed with the agenda. I will share the slide once again. Once again, thank you so much, Ms. Sakshi. And now I'd like to request Ms. Vaishnavi to give us an insight into the study and work plan through her experiences.
Thank you, Ms. Khushi-san. I'll share my screen now. Okay, I hope it's visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so yes. So hello everyone, very good evening. Let me introduce myself in brief. I'm Vaishnavi Thakur, a master's first year student in the Department of Electrical Engineering and Information Systems at the University of Tokyo. Today I'll be talking about study and work life in Japan. So why Japan? Why did I choose Japan? And why do I think Japan is one of the best places for higher education? So, as you know, Japan is an island country in East Asia. It is one of the most densely populated and urbanized countries in the world. But life in Japan is very peaceful and full of opportunities. It is evident from the fact that Japanese cities like Osaka and Tokyo have been ranked as the most livable cities and the best student cities in the world. So I would agree that moving to another country puts a lot of stress on students and parents especially. So let's try to address some of the common concerns. So one thing is the public transportation. So what if the student lives very far from the university? So in that case, the public transportation here is the most safest option, and students they don't usually face any hurdles in commuting to the universities. And the next is the food. So what if we are vegetarian? So will I be able to survive in Japan or not? So we might have those such questions. So needless to worry, there are so many vegetarian options for vegetarians, and also there are many international cuisines that Japan offers, like Indian, Chinese, European, and so on. So, and next is the health. More than students, I think parents are usually worried about their child's health. So needless to worry about this because there's an excellent national health insurance policy which covers almost all of the expenses when we are hospitalized. So this is about Japan, and let's look into the education system and how about the admission process for international students. So universities in Japan are classified into three categories. We have national, public, and private universities. And one misconception we have is the language of instruction. So people might think that the courses are in Japanese and we need to know Japanese language in order to study in these universities. So that's a very common misconception, but there are various English programs that are being offered by these universities. To give an overview, for the undergraduate program, there are around 90 courses in 40 universities that are being offered in English. And in the graduate programs, we have around 160 courses in 51 universities. So the general undergraduate program is of 4 years, and the graduate program is for 2 years, and the doctoral, it varies from 3 to 4 years. So one difference between the education system in Japan and India is the admission process. So in India, the admission is centralized through national exams like JEE, NEET, GATE. But here the admission process lies with the universities and the departments. So I think students have to remember this and keep this in mind while applying to the universities. So, and next is the world-class infrastructure. So I did not specially mention about the unparalleled and one of the best infrastructures in the world. So the university dorms offer a very peaceful living environment for a well-balanced academic and personal lifestyle. So let's look into the admission process for the international students. So for admissions into bachelor's, the usual process is to take an entrance exam and submit SOPs. And for master's and PhD programs, the first step is to find our research interest and then get in touch with the professors. So this is a general admission process, but there are various other programs and departments in which the admission process varies. And through these webinars, you can know the admission process in various universities. So I would also like to mention a point here. Generally, we see that many students opt Western countries for higher education, but here I present a comparison between the tuition fees and the living expenses in US and Japan. So we can see that the tuition fees is very low when compared to the Western countries like United States. So besides offering very low tuition fees, there are also plenty of scholarships that are being offered in Japan. Like some of them are the Mrq, JASO, and there are many scholarships that are offered by the local government bodies and the private organizations, and also the university scholarships. So besides the low tuition fees, students can also take advantage of this plenty of scholarships that are available. This is about the Japan and the admission process. So what happens once you graduate? So will students easily find jobs in Japan? So let's look into the job opportunities. So Japan has the lowest unemployment rate, that is around 2.4%. And once a student graduates, the average salary is around 3.9 million yen per year. So your students can target many traditional Japanese companies, and also there are many other global companies that operate in Japan. So you can either choose either of them. And while also being a student, you can also work in startups and gain many part-time opportunities and grab wonderful internship opportunities in these companies. So also, let me put an extra emphasis on the visa process. So the transition from the student to working visa is a big hassle in many developed nations, but not in Japan. So the process is very smooth and easy here. And once you graduate and enter the workforce, you can have a very peaceful and satisfying and a financially rewarding career in Japan after completing your education. So this is about the general study and work in Japan, and this is how my weekends in Japan are. So after the weekdays hustle, we can take out some time for ourselves by pursuing various hobbies. So there's nothing you cannot do here. You are going to be in one of the most developed, organized, and happening countries, and everything is accessible at our fingertips. So there are also various sport clubs and associations you can indulge in. So if you are a foodie, like Japan is not going to disappoint you. This picture itself has around 6 to 7 cuisines. So, and if you're an outdoor person, you can enjoy your time here. So like with this, I conclude my presentation, and I wish you all the best in coming to Japan. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thakur, for the very insightful presentation. I'm sure students have gotten a gist of the study and work life in Japan. Once again, thank you so much. I'll share the agenda slide once again. Now we'll have a presentation by Hoka University. So first I'll talk a little about the university. So Hoka University is one of the most acclaimed public universities in Japan. It offers a range of international co-educational programs to students interested in biology, engineering, and economics. Its high educational standards and diverse learning environment has proved to broaden students' perspective and ensure employment opportunities. Now I'd like to request Professor Dimitro and Mr. Tushit to give us an insight into the university.
Thank you. Let me share my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, can you see?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's get started. Good evening for Japan. Good afternoon, probably for India, ladies and gentlemen. Just a second. It's my great pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to introduce you to the Hoka University, one of the leading universities of Japan. My name is Dmitro Fedorinenko, and I'm an associate professor of the Department of Aerospace Engineering. Today, I'm also going to introduce you to the School of Engineering and International Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering course. Above all, I would like to mention our beautiful city, Sendai, where Tohoku University is located. The history of the city began in 1600, and over the centuries, Sendai has been the political and economical center of Tohoku region, northeast region of Japan. As you can see here, Sendai is located not far from Tokyo. It's about 300 kilometers and it takes an hour and a half by train. Sendai is also known as a city of trees and as an academic city due to a great number of universities relative to population. Referring to Albert Einstein, we can say that Sendai is one of the most suitable cities for academic research. The Hoka University was established in 1907 as Japan's third imperial university. Today, the university encompasses 10 faculties, 15 graduate schools, and has about 18,000 students. It should be noted that faculty students ratio of 1 to 6 is the minimum among research universities in Japan. Since its foundation, the university's policies of research first, open door, and practice-oriented research have produced excellent graduates, generated significant research outcomes, and contributed to society. The Hoka University boasts to be among 3 designated national universities in Japan, selected by the government in 2017. As you can see in this slide, the Hoka University takes high places in national and world ranking lists, both in research and education. More specifically, the Hoka University takes first place in Japan according to the World University Ranking. And our university is also highly ranked in material science, physics, mechanical, and aerospace engineering. Strong emphasis on quality of research has always been our tradition. The university is proud of its 5 Nobel Prize laureates, among them Dr. Koichi Tanaka, who is a graduate of the School of Engineering, got the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2002 for developing a new method for molecular analysis. Nowadays, we're using widely optical fibers as a channel for communication. That was proposed by the former president of the Hoka University, Professor Nishizawa. Perhaps all of us use flash memory invented by Professor Masuoka. School of Engineering has a lot of outstanding achievements in the field of material science. For example, Yagi antenna was widely used in radar systems and as home television antennas. A new KS steel invented by Dr. Honda was a breakthrough in the field of permanent magnetic steel at the time. The method of perpendicular magnetic recording suggested by Professor Iwasaki achieved great success for hard disk drives since 2005. The Hoka University is open to diverse talents from all over the world. Our university is an international hub where talented students can gather, learn, and create. Currently, there are 1,500 international students enrolled in study at the Hoka University. University offers 3 bachelor courses taught entirely in English, such as Advanced Molecular Chemistry, International Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, Applied Marine Biology, and 18 master's and doctoral courses. Next, I would like to introduce you to the School of Engineering. The school is in Aobayama campus. You can see here. Aobayama literally means green leaves mountain. From this picture, you can see, probably you can understand why it's called a green mount, right? School of Engineering is the largest school of our university, which has 23 degree programs and has over 5,000 students. Currently, around 500 international students are enrolled, creating a multicultural learning atmosphere. School of Engineering encompasses several departments such as applied chemistry, material science, civil engineering, electrical information and physics engineering, and finally mechanical and aerospace engineering, including international undergraduate and graduate courses. You can get more information on this website. Mrq is an international undergraduate course taught fully in English, organized by the Division of Mechanical Engineering. The division consists of more than 100 laboratories covering a wide range of engineering fields, such as mechanical systems, fine mechanics, aerospace engineering, robotics, and biomedical engineering. Let's take a look at Mrq curriculum. Apart from liberal arts and basic science courses, our students study a set of top-notch specific courses, and they are deeply involved in lab-based research from the second year. Moreover, our students can continue their education in master's and doctoral studies. In addition, Mechanical Engineering Division has career support system, which helps international students develop their career. Our high-level research activities have a strong connection to industry. Normally, the number of job offers from industry is over 5 times of the number of our job-seeking students. Our graduates are employed in leading Japanese companies such as Toyota, Nissan, Denso, Hitachi, and over a half of the bachelor graduates continue to study for a Mrq graduate course. It should be also noted that a large proportion of doctoral graduates then work as postdoctoral researchers. In the next slides, you can see Mrq contact information, including email address, and several useful links on the admission procedure and the labs. You can get more detailed information on Mrq labs following these links: online, open campus, and laboratory guide. Next, I would like to present a short video about Mrq research.
The Hoka University Division of Mechanical Engineering strives to realize a more comfortable and safe society. Students from all over the world are developing cutting-edge research with our internationally famous professors and their fellow students, while receiving a high-level education in mechanical engineering, material engineering, space technology, robotics, and bioengineering. The Division of Mechanical Engineering covers a wide range of research, from the nano-level substance control to the development of space technology. Living organisms and medical treatment are also among our research targets. Simulation technology using multiphysics computational science is the fundamentals of material technology. With this knowledge, we can control friction phenomenon at the molecular level that affects the durability and dependability of machines. Nanoscale manufacturing not only maximizes the features of a material, but also gives the material a new function. The micro-nano devices created in our mechanical engineering division are generating the seeds for new industries related to medical treatment. We also pursue the realization of new, environmentally friendly energy systems. Fuel cells made from ceramics that operate at high temperatures are one key example. We study aerodynamics, aiming for new frontiers in aerospace technology. We are developing technology for space exploration, from the Mars spaceships to robotics for extreme and uncertain environments. We have already developed robots that have assisted in disaster-stricken areas. Mechanical engineering can advance the methods to realize comfortable lives. Here at the Division of Mechanical Engineering, you will find people you can share your dream with.
I first came to Hoka University after graduating as part of a one-year internship, and the lab environment here and my professors were pretty awesome, so I decided to stay for a while after that. And now I'm doing my PhD here.
Hoka University is one of the most famous universities in the world, especially in the field of engineering and material science. One of the most famous writers, Lu Xun, in China, also graduated from Hoka University. So it is a great pleasure for me to start here.
I had always wanted to come to Japan, and Hoka University offers a great program. It's an excellent combination between classes offered in English and the possibility to work in a laboratory. This laboratory, my laboratory, welcomed me like a family.
After I got a scholarship from the Japanese government, I had to find an ideal laboratory here in Japan. I could find it here at Hoka University, in where I had several opportunities as going to international conferences and belonging to a big project. This project is about molecular robotics.
Our division provides creativity and advanced research capacities at one of the world's best research environments. Through studying mechanical engineering with us, you can pursue ways to create richer life for human beings and make a significant contribution to the brilliant future. We are looking forward to seeing you soon.
Come join us.
So join us at the Hoka University Division of Mechanical Engineering and gain the knowledge and skills to make your dreams come true.
Thank you for watching the video. You can find the detailed step-by-step application guide to international programs offered by Hoka University on this web page. The application submission period is planned for January 5th till January 12th. You can get more information about the required qualification and admission process on this website. Education expenses consist of admission and tuition fees. Average living cost in Sendai is about $1,000 monthly. As you can see, the tuition fee at our university is much cheaper than, for example, in the US public universities. A variety of scholarship opportunities are offered to international students, which include a monthly stipend and the reduction of different fees. Every year, 8 international students receive the Mrq scholarship, which covers both educational and living expenses. All international students are eligible to receive the President's Special Scholarship that can cover all education expenses. You can get more information about financial support on this website. Welcome to join us, and thank you very much for your attention. Mr. Trishit.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I'll probably take over from here. Thank you so much, Professor, for introducing the university. And hello, everyone. I am Trishit, and I am a first-year doctoral student in the Graduate School of Science here at the Hoka University. And yes, I was born and brought up in Mumbai. I did my class 12 CBSE in sciences back in 2015. So I actually first came to Japan as an exchange student for a Genesis program. And that was the first time I traveled abroad. So I really, really loved the culture, discipline in Japan, and how the technology and the traditional historical part is really balanced so well. So after I returned to India, I really thought that I wanted to study chemistry because that's what I wanted to do, but maybe in Japan. But since I did not know Japanese at that time and I wanted to do it in English, I realized that the Hoka University was the university of my choice because it provided me to study chemistry in English language. So I have been here for 6 years and I have just started my PhD program. So I think as Indian students, we are very much concerned about the fact that about the language skill, Japanese. But as it was also explained in the beginning introduction, that inside the campus, on your academic life, all support services are provided in English. So there is no requirement for Japanese there. However, yes, if you want to do something outside the campus, there is a requirement for Japanese, but the university provides a lot of learning opportunities for the Japanese language, and you're not paying anything extra for that. So adequate support is available for you at every stage. Also, as it was explained before, there are plenty of scholarships which are there. I personally could not have studied in a foreign country without scholarships. So because of these generous scholarship, President Fellowship, Mrq, and other scholarships available, for the 6 years, literally my education has been free. So I did not pay anything for studying in Japan. A large benefit, of course, because you might be wondering, why am I still continuing in Hoka University, is the fact that the university focuses a lot on interdisciplinary education. So you can see a lot of different areas such as sociology is being researched along with mathematics or something like that. So these are usually subject areas we don't think of, we are not much aware of as high school students, 11th and 12th standard back in India. So this is an extremely large benefit because we are living in a world now where we need interdisciplinary education. So there is also a huge amount of freedom of academic thought. So, personally, you can reach out to any professor here at the university, even if they're not from your department, ask for an internship or learn something from them. So a lot of those kind of opportunities are possible here at the Hoka University. Then the question comes up is of career. Well, I'm still a student. I have not applied for jobs, but I have many of my friends who got into the companies and are working now in Japan and elsewhere. So for students who are aiming for a career, the university really arranges matching events where they meet the companies and the students. It's a dedicated career support center. So you don't need to worry about how to find jobs in a new country completely on your own. There is adequate support also provided for that. There are also students, of course, other than doing research or career, you might be interested in doing entrepreneurship. And the university has something called a startup garage, where they also support entrepreneurship, and you can get funding opportunities and places to actually test your own business ideas. You can start your own clubs, organize events. In short, the university provides you everything what you want to do. So do it, and the system is there to support you. Of course, the important part is also of the city. The university is located in Sendai city. It's not big, not too big, not too small, nothing like Mumbai or Delhi or Kolkata like that. So, and it makes it very perfect for a student. You do not have to travel a lot, and it's not expensive at all compared to other Japanese cities. It makes it a very, very student-friendly city. And of course, there is the Hoka University itself has such a rich history in innovation, as Professor Dimitri mentioned about the various inventions, optical fibers, TV antennas, which has happened in Hoka University. So for me personally, I could meet so many different people from so many countries here in one single city of Sendai because of the university. And it really helped me in changing my perspective towards the world. So international education really helps us in thinking differently. And when it is like a top-notch university like Tohoku University and as affordable as it is in Japan, I don't think anything you should be worried about, especially if you're a parent, how to send your children to a foreign country you do not know much about. Well, I can say there is nothing much you need to worry about. It's extremely safe, innovative, and is great for the future of all of us. So I really hope you choose Japan and Tohoku University for your future education. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fukuoka University, for the very comprehensive presentation. There are several questions in the Q&A portal, and thank you, Professor Watanabe, for answering many of them. But I would like to pick up a few questions for you to answer. Can I pick up a few questions, or would you like to pick up a few questions?
You can pick it.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you so much. So there's one question that asks, is IELTS or TOEFL mandatory? Does the student need to submit TOEFL or IELTS scores?
Pardon, what score you say?
TOEFL or IELTS, the English.
We need. We request.
Okay, thank you. Is there computer engineering?
Unfortunately, no computer science major in English. In Japanese, we do.
Okay, all right. Can students enroll into the programs at Tohoku University through the Mrq scholarship?
We have a reserved seat for the Mrq scholarship. So just apply to this, FGL, International Degree Program. And you are good. If you are good, you are automatically, recommended to be a next recipient. That's our program system.
Okay. Also, I would like to tell the students that you could also apply for scholarships once you enroll into their programs. So you do not necessarily need to apply for scholarships in the first year. So there are other questions as well. Is there any course on mechanical engineering?
We do. We have a mechanical engineering course.
Okay. How about architecture? Is there any course about architecture?
Unfortunately, no English course.
Is there civil engineering?
Civil engineering, no.
Okay. Is it necessary to take the GLPT exam?
GLPT.
Yeah.
GLPT is
the Japanese proficiency test.
EJU. No, we don't need. We don't request.
Okay. Also, most of the English programs in Japan, you do not need to have prior knowledge of the Japanese language. So
we don't ask any Japanese.
Yes, knowledge. So the university helps you and allows you to take Japanese language courses. So by the time you graduate, you can take the N2 GLPT examination. I'll pick up two more questions. Is there masters in agriculture?
Difficult. Yes, some part yes, some part no.
Okay.
Yeah, there is some combination English graduate course. Agriculture and life science, so like that.
For the graduate programs, does the student need to take the GRE examination?
I don't think so, but that depends on the English program or Japanese program. You don't know.
I think English program. Yeah.
English program. I will check. I will give the information site URL where I should put.
You can share the links in the chat box.
Okay, I will do so.
Okay. Actually, there's several questions about the undergraduate and graduate programs, and it's difficult to answer all of them because we are running out of time. So I would like to request the representatives of the university to answer the questions in the Q&A portal when other universities are also presenting. Thank you so much, Hoka University, for the comprehensive presentation. And I will share the agenda slide once again. Thank you so much. And please share the links in the chat box. And many students also want scholarship information. So it would be great if you could share details about that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
I hope everyone can see my screen. So now we'll have a presentation by Kyushu University. So Kyushu University is an acclaimed national university in Japan. It was selected as a top type university by the Japanese government. It is regarded as one of the best research-oriented universities. It has partnerships with about 126 foreign universities, and the campus diversity is certainly accentuated. It offers a range of English programs in a myriad of fields. Now I'd like to request Professor James and Professor Tamura to give us an insight into the university.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. So I will be presenting about Kyushu University. Just make sure that this is working. Okay, okay, great, thank you. So I should introduce myself. My name is James Cannon. I'm an associate professor here at Kyushu University in mechanical engineering. And this is our campus. So we have an agriculture department here, the engineering department down here, and center zone here. And in the distance here, you can see Fukuoka city. So we're situated just outside the city. And this is actually, I think they're now still the newest campus and certainly the biggest campus in Japan. So it's our flagship campus. So what I'm going to do in this talk is very briefly explain to you about Kyushu University in Fukuoka, the city where we're based, talk about graduate programs, undergraduate programs, and then a little bit about costs at the end. So Kyushu University, as was mentioned in the introduction, is an old university. It was one of the initial imperial universities in Japan, along with several other universities. And in 2011, we celebrated our 100th year. So it's been a while now. You might recognize this gentleman here. He's Professor Einstein. He came to visit in 1921, I think it was. He didn't just come to Kyushu, he was doing a tour of Japan, but he stopped off in Kyushu along the way. So it's quite a prestigious and it's quite a prestigious university with a long history. Now, I mentioned that we're in Fukuoka. Fukuoka is here. So it's, you just had a talk from Tohoku University, right, which is somewhere up here. We're quite far, more south and more to the west on Kyushu Island. And you'll notice that we're actually closer to the capital of Korea than we are to the capital of Japan. And not so far from Shanghai and Taipei as well. And so Kyushu and Fukuoka in particular is known as the gateway to Asia in Japan. And so access to Fukuoka is very, very convenient. Fukuoka city itself was ranked fairly recently as one of the world's most livable cities by a Monocle magazine, I think it was. And it really has a great balance of both a city of 1 million people, again, maybe small by Indian standards, but there's enough of a life there with an underground system and everything you would expect from a big city. And then at the same time, you'll remember from the very first photo that I showed, we're just slightly outside the city. So you have very quick and easy access to the countryside and to very beautiful nature as well. And we have when there's not Corona, we have various festivals and cultural events as well. Now, Kyushu University itself, if I had to summarize in 5 points, I've already talked about the first point. So it was founded in 1911. It's one of the premier national 7 universities, which means it's kind of the cream of the crop in terms of education and research. It's a large-scale comprehensive university. So I'm going to focus mostly on engineering here. And I think the previous speaker touched on the importance of interdisciplinary environments. We very much have an interdisciplinary environment covering everything from law and literature across to the sciences, physics, mathematics, and of course engineering. It's a good university, ranked within the world's top 0.5%. It's one of the top 10 in Japan, and it's a member of RU11, Research University 11. So it's very much a research-focused university. Now, if I had to pick out some prominent alumni from the university, I would perhaps pick Koichi Wakata. He was the first Asian ISS, International Space Station commander. And he was at the ISS for a while. Actually, about 2 years ago now, but the student working with me in my lab, he actually met him. So he still has connections. I'm not saying if you come to Kyushu University, you will meet him, but there are these connections still there. Morita Sensei discovered element 113. And then we have Mr. Huang, who is an entrepreneur. And again, I think in the previous presentation, there was a touch on entrepreneurship. This is also something that we agree is very important, and we have something called QREC, which aims to support student entrepreneurship as well. The university itself, as I mentioned, it's a research university, so we're engaged in world-level research. So if I just pick out a few that are maybe relevant to engineering, you have the ISNA, which is the Institute for Carbon Neutral Energy Research. There's a lot of focus on CO2 capture and environmental improvement, and especially hydrogen technology. So there's this kind of institute which is centered to that. Next Generation Fuel Cell Research Center, there's a lot of work on fuel cells. The Center for Organic Photonics and Electronics, otherwise known as OPERA, and the Research Institute of Applied Mechanics, where they, a little while ago now, but they invented this wind lens technology to improve the efficiency of wind generation power devices. So there is a lot of research going on at the university, and much of it is world class. Now, I touched on hydrogen technology just now, and a vision for the campus. You saw the picture of the campus just now, the biggest in Japan. It was envisaged as being a test bed for a hydrogen city. So all around the campus, you will find hydrogen related facilities. If you have a hydrogen car, you could charge your hydrogen car. I don't expect that you'll be driving around in a hydrogen car, but if you had one, you could do that. And there are many fuel cell labs as well. But that's just part of this overall picture in terms of energy and environment. So I already touched on the wind lens turbine technology, but there's a lot with geothermal energy, for example, solar cells, and so on as well. Material and chemistry, so everything from nanoscale, so nanotechnology, carbon nanotubes, for example. I actually did a bit of work with that in the past. The organic OLEDs I mentioned as well. We also have research into the biomechanics, so human care, such as assistive suits, and sort of sensors. Sensors are getting very small now, and we're entering this data world, right? So these like this blood flow sensor chip, for example. Now, the facilities at the university are world class, are very good. Just to give out some interesting examples, we have the ultra high voltage tunneling electron microscope for you know, electron level images. The supercomputing center, we actually have one on the campus. So that's very nice. I personally make a lot of use of that. And then also, you know, so that's theoretical, but then in terms of practical experiments, coastal marine work as well. So for engineering, in terms of graduate programs, I suppose you could split the programs into 4 areas. So applied chemistry, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and aeronautics and astronautics. We have 11 departments. Maybe you can take a moment to see which one or two might interest you the most. And then within those departments, we have multiple programs. So for example, in civil engineering, we will have both a civil and structural engineering program as well as an urban and environmental engineering program. So like I say, there is, as a comprehensive, lot available, and I think this not only gives you this opportunity for focusing on what you're interested in, but also allows this interdisciplinary research as well. And okay, so what does this look like in the real context? So here are some pictures from the laboratories. Students very busy at work doing research with the professors. So that's graduate level. But I also want to talk a little bit about undergraduate as well. So Kyushu University is fairly unique in that it has an English language undergraduate program for engineering. And that covers anything from you know, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, and more. So if you were to join an undergraduate program in English, the Iup program, then it would kind of look like this. So typically in the first year, you'll undergo, you'll take part in what is called Kikan education, otherwise known as general education. And this is where you have the opportunity not only to study what, you know, the focus of your major, the thing that you would like to sort of focus on, but also a wide range of other subjects. And the reason for this, of course, is that if you ultimately want to, say, you know, become CEO of a company, you not only need to be very good at one thing, you need to have an appreciation for society and general skills, right? So this is the idea behind this. But once you've done that first year of your undergraduate program in English, you will then spend the second and third years engaged in more specialized education. So then you'll be able to focus more on your particular choice of specialization. And then the fourth year, and I think this is somewhat unique to Japan, in that the fourth year, you'll then have the opportunity to join a laboratory, sometimes during actually your third year, depending on the course you're on. And there you will be able to experience firsthand engaging in research fairly early on. And this will give you a step to becoming more independent. You'll have a little bit more control over, you know, the direction that you take, and it's an extremely useful learning opportunity. So I don't think that's specific to Kyushu. I think that's general in Japan, but definitely that is a central part of the experience at Kyushu University. These IUP programs, here's actually the full list of areas where, of the 4 courses. So applied chemistry, civil engineering, mechanical and aerospace engineering, as well as electrical engineering and computer science. And just to very briefly touch on what's involved in each one. So in applied chemistry, for example, there are you take classes in anything from organic chemistry to inorganic chemistry, and there's a lot of you can touch on fuel cell technology again. This is extremely important. Hydrogen production, making use of the facilities in these areas at Kyushu University. Civil engineering offers anything from earthquake engineering to ocean coastal engineering. I should probably mention that Fukuoka is in one of the most stable areas of Japan. So, but we are engaged in earthquake engineering research, of course, disaster prevention, that sort of thing. Electrical engineering and computer science. So here you have an opportunity to study both aspects of these areas. You might know that Japan is fairly famous for robotics. For that, you need an appreciation of both electrical engineering and computer science. You can specialize somewhat towards one area or the other, if that's what you're interested in. And I think that there are lots of opportunities to be engaged in various aspects of this area. Mechanical and aerospace engineering, this is where I'm coming from. Anything from thermal engineering to, again, hydrogen utilization. Material science is also incorporated here. This is important for hydrogen in the sense that you get embrittlement from hydrogen with metals and things. And this also includes, aerospace, what you would expect from aerospace, and fluids engineering as well. So I've gone very quickly through those, but I hope that if there's an area that you find interesting, that you were able to pick up on that. The last thing I want to do is talk about the enrollment and tuition fees. So enrollment fee is about 280,000 Japanese yen. It's standard for a national university, okay? And I think, as it was mentioned in Tohoku's presentation, substantially cheaper than going to the US or Australia, for example. So that's the enrollment fee. The annual tuition fee is about double that. So these are the standard fees for a national university in Japan. If you are interested to apply for 2022, if you want to be admitted onto a master's or doctoral program during April 2022, then you would need to apply by January. So that's relatively soon. For October, then the deadline is May. Okay. Research students similar, but it's basically the same, just a slight difference. The details, I will share the web page in a moment, and there you will find the exact dates. These are just rough dates, but the exact dates will be posted on the internet, and I will share that link in a moment. If you were to apply for a master's program, the crucial thing is to get in contact with a possible supervisor. And then, you'll need your transcripts and all of these things are kind of standard. And then some sort of English qualification as well. And then doctoral program, basically the same as master, find a potential supervisor, contact them. And then when you apply, you have to also include your master's thesis and a research plan as well. The costs I've already touched on, so I won't go into too much detail again here, but what I think is interesting is the cost of living. So I've just listed the typical cost of living there in Japanese yen and in US dollars. It's interesting to note that Kyushu is one of the cheapest places to live in Japan. and certainly cheaper than Tokyo. I did live in Tokyo for 5 years. You know, it's a good place to live, but it's certainly more expensive. So if that is a concern, then Kyushu is you know, has an advantage in that sense. And if you're interested in scholarships, there is the Mrq Japanese government scholarship. That's not specific to Kyushu, but you can take advantage of that with Kyushu University. And if you look at the monthly allowance, that's more than enough to cover your living expenses. The other thing is housing, of course. So you will be able to join into a dormitory where it's very close to the university, maybe 15 minutes walk for a Harmony house. And the rent is, I think, quite relatively affordable. So that's a very brief introduction to Kyushu University. Thank you for your attention. We have our website here. I will copy this into the chat as well, or maybe Tamura Sensei will. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor James, for the informative presentation. There are several questions in the Q&A portal, so would you like me to pick up a few questions?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
All right. Could you tell our students about the number of seats available for the computer or aerospace engineering courses?
Is that undergraduate or postgraduate?
The student hasn't really specified, but
okay.
You could give information for either.
Yeah, sure. So for typically for the Iup program, International Undergraduate Program in English, there's typically how many, Tamura Sensei, like 10, 15 students?
Okay, so for one course, we are accepting like several students here. So we have 4 courses, so about 20 to 25 students, only those students are, that number of students are admitted, but then our programs are like a special program and most of the students are studying scholarship.
Okay, thank you. One student has asked, one of the students had contacted the professor at Kyushu University, and the student was asked to take the entrance examination. So could you give a little information about the entrance examination that one needs to take to enroll into the graduate or undergraduate program?
I wonder which graduate school he or she is applying for, but he or she can find the information in the website of each graduate school. And there they have like different information. So we represent the Faculty of Engineering. So if they're applying for the program, we cannot provide their details. We're sorry.
Also, a couple of students have asked if Kyushu University accepts scores of CBSE, which CBSE is an abbreviation for Central Board of Secondary Education, which is an Indian curriculum. So do you accept CBSE scores as well?
I understand that Indian students are very good in actually science subject, but we are only accepting standardized tests in the world. Like everyone, the test everyone can take. So currently we are accepting SAT, ACT, and AP, and GCE A level or IB, and also EJU.
Okay, all right. Is there any particular reason for why CBSE is not included?
So the first reason, it is not standardized test for all the students in the world. So it is specific to Indian student. And another reason is that test schedule. So when we hold the actually interview test, it is a time when CBS test is held. So that's another reason, but this is not actually the reason, but then that is.
Okay. Students who have the permanent residence, who hold the status of permanent residents, are they eligible to apply for the undergraduate or graduate courses?
So what status? Excuse me.
Permanent resident, PR.
Educant.
Educant.
Educant. Yeah. So if you have their passport of different countries, so we have students with double passport. Then, so I think if you have their educant, it is okay. But then please ask the admission office for that. We have a student applying from Japan. So I'm sorry, I think I need to check. Then the admission office has the detailed information about it.
Okay, I would recommend the students to contact the admissions office as the application guidelines differ. Usually,
yeah, please read application guideline and it is written there.
Yes, because usually students who have Educant or the permanent residency, they have a different process. So I recommend you to check the application guidelines or contact the admissions office. I'll pick up 2 more questions. Is the student required to take EJU?
Yes, secondly, screening will be interview test, and it will be held between late February and early March, and they can take, they can sit for the interview test from their home.
Okay. And one last question. Is there any graduate program in physics at Kyushu University? In physics.
Graduate program, yes.
In physics.
Yes, we do. Like the Graduate School of Sciences have the Department of Physics.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Professor Tamura and Professor James, for answering the questions. There are still several questions in the Q&A portal, so you could answer them when other universities are presenting.
Thank you so much.
Also, you could share the links in the chat box.
I have already shared the link of admission instructions, so please check it there.
All right, thank you so much. Share the agenda slide once again. I hope everyone can see my screen. So now we have a presentation by Waseda University. So Waseda University is an esteemed private university in Japan. It is Japan's most global campus with over 7,000 international students from 120 countries and partnerships with over 800 prominent institutions. It has about 50 English degree programs in a range of fields, including engineering, liberal arts, and economics. Its alumni includes prime ministers and leaders in other sectors like journalism, science, and literature. Now I'd like to request Mr. Hayashi and Ms. Nakamura to give us an insight into the university.
So good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for having us today. I'm Nakamura from the International Admission Office of Waseda University. My colleague, Mr. Hayashi, is supporting me during the session. So in this session, I'd like to introduce about our university and our English-based degree program, which doesn't require any Japanese language proficiency at all. So first, let me play the video which explains about our university and our English-based degree program.
Hello, welcome to Waseda University's virtual college visit. This presentation will cover information on study in Central Tokyo at Japan's #1 private university, Waseda. Waseda University is located in the city of Tokyo on the Central Pacific Coast, or the southeastern part of the main island of Japan. Situated in central Tokyo, Waseda University is convenient for getting anywhere in Tokyo in just minutes by train or bus. And with bullet train stations and the Narita and Haneda airports nearby, not only is it easy to travel anywhere in Japan, but also to international destinations. Here you can see just a sample of the magnificent scenes you can come across in Tokyo. Everything from beautiful parks, famous temples, and financial districts that are home to world-renowned corporations, to vibrant nightlife, unique cafes, and Michelin-starred restaurants. Tokyo has been ranked #1 safest city in the world and the #2 best student city in the world, two high rankings in areas that are very important during your student life. The QS Best Student City Ranking is an evaluation based on university rankings, student mix, desirability, employer activity, affordability, and a student view survey. Now let's take a minute to look at Waseda University rankings. Ranked the #1 private university in Japan, Waseda is the most well-known university in the Tokyo area. It also ranks in the top 50 for 5 fields of study, including sports, modern languages, classics and ancient history, mineral and mining related engineering, and politics and international studies. As of May 2019, nearly 49,000 students were attending Waseda University, with a little over 40,000 undergraduates and more than 8,000 graduate students. And when it comes to international students, Waseda ranks #1 in Japan in that regard as well, with 8,300 international students hailing from 121 countries and regions around the world. Globally, Waseda's alumni total more than 600,000. This creates valuable opportunities for networking. Among its esteemed graduates are 7 Japanese prime ministers, the famous and beloved author Haruki Murakami, and the first Japanese woman to serve as Under-Secretary General for the United Nations, Izumi Nakamitsu. Other alumni include nearly 11,000 CEOs and presidents, such as the CEO of Nintendo and Uniqlo, and the founder of Sony, to name a few. Waseda University has more than 800 institution-wide and departmental partnerships with leading institutions around the world. This means that degree-seeking students at Waseda have many study abroad opportunities to choose from, with half-year and one-year options, and in some cases chances to obtain a double degree. These next few slides pertain to student life at Waseda. No college life would be complete without a vibrant sports culture. There are 44 varsity sports at Waseda, including expected athletics like swimming, soccer, tennis, and track, as well as some not so expected ones like race car driving and sumo wrestling. And Waseda is all about creating opportunities for students to interact with one another. With 500 student clubs on campus, you're sure to find one to your liking. Furthermore, the Intercultural Communications Center on campus holds 300 events a year to promote cultural exchange. In addition to learning about Japan, students can learn about cultures from around the world and even showcase their own culture. For the real Japanese college experience, consider staying in a dormitory. There are 24 different dorms for Waseda students to choose from. The Waseda International Dormitory, or WID, has 500 rooms and is just a few minutes walk to the main campus. The Waseda International Student House, or WISH, has a total of 872 rooms. Tokyo Student House Crevia Will Waseda is an 11-story dorm with just under 200 rooms and is a mere 2-minute walk to the main campus. These dorms are available for domestic students as well as international students, so offer many opportunities for tenants to intermingle and learn about various cultures. Other options include apartment rental and homestay, which is another effective way to immerse yourself in the Japanese culture. Waseda offers student support in a number of ways. Let's take a look at a couple. The Center for International Education supports incoming international students and develops various exchange programs based on agreements with universities around the globe. Through expansion of its agreements with these institutions, the center encourages more international students to attend Waseda and contributes substantially to the growing number of Waseda networks around the world. The Gender and Sexuality Center works to ensure that the diverse groups of minority students who could be subject to disadvantages in various aspects of campus life are able to focus on their studies without fear of discrimination. The center offers a variety of support, including consultation, resources, and a semi-open community space for events, all in a safe and discreet environment. If you want to study a foreign language, Waseda offers classes for 28 different languages. For Japanese courses, the Center for Japanese Language, located on campus, offers a variety of programs ranging from beginning to super advanced language levels. What's more, most costs are covered by tuition for regular full-time undergraduate students. The Center for Japanese Language is one of the largest Japanese language schools in Japan. Of course, everyone wants to know what kinds of careers are attainable with a degree from Waseda. Let's take a look at some examples. But first, in terms of graduate employability, Waseda ranks #1 among private universities in Japan and number 34 globally, so major international companies are seeking our graduates. This list presents just a sample of the companies hiring Waseda graduates. Do you see any that interest you? Many of our graduates elect to further their studies, continuing on to graduate school at Columbia, Harvard, Oxford, National University of Singapore, and of course, graduate studies at Waseda, among many others. So how much does it cost to study at Waseda and live in Tokyo? Let's see. Here you can see a tuition comparison between Waseda and average tuition rates in the US and the UK. At less than half of what you'd expect to pay in the UK, and less than a third of the cost of tuition in the US, Waseda represents a unique opportunity to obtain a high-quality, world-class education with affordable tuition. This chart gives you an overview of the cost of tuition and average living expenses while at Waseda. Many people believe that it is too expensive to live in Tokyo. As you can see here, it's quite reasonable. On top of the reasonable cost of tuition and living expenses, there are more than 111 scholarships that eligible students can apply to. Approximately 40% of international students receive some form of scholarship while studying at Waseda. Now let's get into the meat of today's presentation, our programs. At Waseda, there is a total of 13 undergraduate schools, 7 of which participate in the English-based degree program. This program allows international students to study for their undergraduate degree without the need to speak Japanese. All courses are taught in English. At the same time, students in the program are automatically eligible to study Japanese if they desire, and certain schools require that Japanese be studied alongside their regular courses. Now let's learn a little bit about the 7 English-based degree programs. The schools participating in this program are the School of Political Science and Economics, the School of Social Sciences, the School of International Liberal Studies, the School of Culture, Media and Society, and the Schools of Fundamental Science and Engineering, Creative Science and Engineering, and Advanced Science and Engineering. Let's briefly look at each one. The School of Political Science and Economics takes a global approach to these fields of study and offers a fully bilingual program with English and Japanese options for most courses. If you're interested in global economies, international relations, and politics, for example, consider this school. The School of Social Sciences offers the Transnational and Interdisciplinary Studies in Social Innovation program. Here, students learn about the various challenges facing different communities around the world. The curriculum includes getting out of the class for fieldwork, so students get hands-on experience in learning how to help solve global problems. The School of International Liberal Studies covers a wide range of disciplines during the first couple of years. Then, from the third year, students can hone in on the subject that they wish to focus on for the remainder of their studies. This school requires students study Japanese in addition to their regular coursework. The School of Culture, Media, and Society might be for you if you're interested in Japanese literature, culture, and society. Although the focus is on Japanese culture and literature, as with other schools participating in this program, courses are taught in English. The School of Science and Engineering is divided into 3 departments: Fundamental science and engineering focuses on mathematics and computer science, while creative science and engineering concentrates on civil engineering and mechanical engineering, so is a good place for those interested in robotics and city planning. Finally, advanced science and engineering offers majors in physics, chemistry, and bioscience. Next, we'll cover some details about the application process. This slide shows the admission terms offered by each school, as well as the number of new students that are accepted each term. Please note that from 2023 admissions onward, the School of Social Sciences will discontinue its April admissions and instead increase the number of students for its September intake. Also, the School of Advanced Science and Engineering will discontinue its English-based degree program. From 2022 admissions, all schools are planning to implement a new online application system, which will allow students to submit all application documents digitally. This chart gives you an overview of each school's application period for September 2022 entry. As you can see here, the application period for all 7 schools starts from January 7th and ends on February 24th. What we see here is the flow of admission procedures. Applicants must open up an online account to register their application to Waseda. Waseda will screen the application documents, and based on their evaluation, applicants will receive one of 3 possible outcomes. An unconditional offer means the applicant has been accepted to the school based on their documents alone, and no further action is required. A conditional offer means the school has reviewed the application documents, but would like to interview the applicant to help them make a final decision. Of course, the last possible outcome is not passing. So what documents will applicants need to submit? All 7 schools require an application form, an English essay, a certificate of graduation or expected graduation, and an official academic transcript. As you can see at the bottom right, there are 4 schools that require a recommendation letter from the applicant's teacher or counselor. In addition, applicants must submit their standardized test scores. Waseda accepts various types of standardized tests administered worldwide. The next few slides will cover some typical tests that we often see. First, there are the SAT and ACT tests. Please note that in some cases, different schools require different subjects be included in the test. For example, the School of International Liberal Studies, the School of Culture, Media, and Society, and the School of Social Sciences all require the SAT or ACT, while the School of Political Science and Economics requires the SAT or ACT with writing. On the other hand, the 3 science and engineering schools strongly urge applicants to submit ACT test scores with writing included. However, previously taken SAT tests that include mathematics level 2, physics, and chemistry subject test results are also accepted. Another commonly seen standard for gauging college readiness are IBDP scores. Please note that different schools have different requirements. For example, the School of Political Science and Economics wants math scores included, while the 3 science and engineering schools require scores from math, physics, and chemistry exams. A-level is another common test, and different schools have different requirements for the A-level student as well. All schools require 3 or more A-level subjects. The School of Political Science and Economics requires that one of those tests be math, while the 3 schools of science and engineering at a minimum require tests in math, physics, and chemistry. All schools accept TOEFL IBT or IELTS academic scores. However, English proficiency is generally not required for applicants who submit scores from standardized tests like the SAT, ACT, IBDP, or A-level. Please note, however, that the School of Political Science and Economics has a different requirement for the exemption.
Okay, thank you for watching. I hope now you have a general idea about us. So let me share the slide. Can you Okay. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So let me add some points. So in the video, in the video it says we have 7 prime ministers who graduated from our university, but the new prime minister, Mr. Kishida, is from our university. So now we have 8 prime ministers who graduated from Waseda University. And as for the standardized test, sorry, the bar. As for the standardized test, we accept common standardized tests such as IBDP or SAT, but all 7 schools accept Indian Nationalized Standardized Test, AISSCE. And if you're a high school student at the time of application, you can submit your predicted score. And again, if you're applying for a School of Political Science and Economics, you need to include your math test score. And if you're applying for 3 science and engineering, you need to include your math, physics, and chemistry test scores. Okay. So lastly, I will briefly explain about our graduate programs. So Waseda has 20 graduate schools, and 14 schools offer English-based degree programs. So here are our English-based graduate programs. So generally, master's program is 2 years, and a doctoral program is 3 years. So as you can see here, most schools offer both master's and doctoral program, but some schools only offer master's program or doctoral program. And then please note that we have graduate schools which only offer Japanese-based programs, as listed here in the bottom part. And if you'd like to know about our faculty members or research fields that are studied at Waseda, please go to Waseda University Researcher database. There you can search by keyword or by name. And we have digital brochure, so there you can find our both undergraduate and graduate program e-brochure. And of course, you can find each undergraduate school or graduate school e-brochure as well. And please visit our website for more details. There you can find more information about our English-based degree program. So please search for Waseda IAO. So we'll move to Q&A session, but as time is limited today, so if you have any questions, please contact us at admission@list.waseda.jp. So we are more than happy to answer your questions. This concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, feel inspired to pursue your studies at Waseda University. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nakamura, for the insightful presentation. We can still answer a couple of questions in the Q&A portal. So could I ask you a few questions?
Yes.
Okay. What is the minimum SAT score required for applying to undergraduate or graduate courses?
So we don't set any minimum score for standardized tests such as SAT or ACT or other IBDP, but we can share the average score of successful applicants. So yeah.
Okay. For students who are studying in a CBSE curriculum, are they required to submit the ACT or the SAT score?
Okay. So
CBSE is abbreviated for Central Board of Secondary Education.
So if CBSE curriculum taught entirely in English, they don't need to submit the, actually it depends on the school. So basically students are required to submit English proficiency test. And then students applying for Faculty of Science and Engineering, and then the curriculum are taught entirely in English, but they don't need to submit. But there's a requirement different in school, so it's better to contact us for confirmation.
Okay. Also, I highly recommend students to submit their TOEFL, IELTS, or SAT scores. It will definitely strengthen your application.
Yes, to make application more competitive, it's better to submit. Even if you take SAT or ACT test, it's better to submit the English proficiency test.
Yes, if you want your application to stand out, I highly recommend students to submit their scores.
Yes, please.
Is there media, graduate courses in media science?
Media science.
Or anything, or mass communication?
Mass communication. So we have graduate school of international culture and communication studies. They have media studies major, not major, media studies, but we also have media. So you said media studies.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. I'm Hayashi from Waseda University. About the graduate programs that we offer in English, we have a list, many lists. The one that Ms. Nakamura just showed you during the presentation, you can find the same list in our English, the e-brochure website. So let me share the screen.
Okay. 林さんもあれかな。Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
E-brochure.
E-brochure. Okay.
Ms. Nakamura, you can share these links in the chat box.
Okay, so this is our e-brochure website. Graduate. はい、今グラジュエートにしました。
Okay. And you'll find a list of the English up here. This is the same list that Ms. Nakamura showed you during the presentation.
You could share this e-brochure on the chat box.
Okay, yes. I will.
There are several questions in the Q&A portal, so I'll pick up a few important ones. So do you accept EJU scores? Is entrance to Japanese university the examination required?
You mean for undergraduate program? Or?
The student hasn't really specified, but I suppose undergraduate.
Okay, so as for undergraduate program, for the standard test, student can use EJU score. But for graduate school, some school require EJU.
English-based, in that case. If you want to apply for the Japanese-based degree program, EJU, some school require EJU, but basically for the English-based degree programs, they do not.
Okay. For most of the English undergraduate programs, they do not require EJU scores. They do require SAT and TOEFL and your transcripts. So as long as you submit the required documents, that is fine.
Yes.
Also, how many seats are available for the computer science course?
Computer science. Okay. Wait a minute.
No problem.
So computer science belongs to fundamental science and engineering. So we have 30 students seats for September entry.
I'll pick one last question. Are predicted scores accepted? If students do not have their final scores when they are applying to your program, are predicted scores accepted by the university?
You mean the CBSE or other like IBDP or?
I think this is for all curriculum. If you could just give a general
Okay.
idea.
So at the time of application, student can submit predicted score, but that after they accept it, they need to submit the final score, like a transcript as well.
Okay. Sorry, one last question. What is the minimum GPA required when applying for engineering graduate programs?
We don't set any minimum GPA score to apply for.
All right. There's several questions in the Q&A portal, but I cannot cover all of them because we are running out of time. So I recommend students to contact the admissions office directly. I suppose the contact information is shared in the chat box. And if not, you can go to their website and find the contact details. Thank you so much, Ms. Nakamura, for answering the questions.
Thank you very much.
I'll share the agenda slide. I hope everyone can see my screen. So this marks the end of our webinar. Thank you to all the panelists and attendees for participating in today's webinar. The recordings of the webinars conducted earlier are uploaded to the Iup Tokyo India office site. The link is also shared in the chat box. For more information about Japanese universities, please join us tomorrow as well at 1 p.m. IST and 4:30 p.m. JST. You could register by scanning the QR code on this page, and also please feel free to contact the universities personally for additional information. Once again, thank you for attending the webinar, and we hope to see you in the coming webinars. Thank you so much. Students can scan the QR code right now. I hope everyone has scanned the QR code. If not, you could check the recordings of the webinars and you can access the QR code there as well. Thank you.